She was the shaking schoolgirl who turned a global stage into a riot. But was the world witnessing a genuine miracle or the industry's most sophisticated illusion? Our top story tonight follows the baffling trajectory of Courtney Hadwin, the teenage phenomenon who redefined what it means to go viral in the digital age. In 2018, the world watched in collective shock as a painfully shy 13-year-old stepped onto the America's Got Talent stage, appearing so paralyzed by fear that many wondered if she could even finish a sentence. But the second the music started, she transformed. It wasn't just a performance. It was an exorcism of raw, classic rock energy that earned her the coveted Golden Buzzer. However, behind the millions of views and the instant fame, a darker narrative began to take shape. Skeptics pointed to her previous appearances on international talent circuits, suggesting that the nervous wallflower persona was a carefully crafted narrative designed to manipulate the audience's emotions for maximum engagement. Critics argued that no child could naturally channel the gravelly soul of the 1960s without intense, perhaps even forced, training behind closed doors. This initial controversy set the stage for a career defined by high stakes and even higher scrutiny. As we look back from 2026, the question remains, was Courtney a victim of her own sudden success, or a willing participant in a grand marketing scheme? The footage from that night remains some of the most analyzed content in history, serving as a masterclass in how a single moment can build or haunt a career. While the public fell in love with the underdog story, the industry was already sharpening its knives, preparing to mold this diamond in the rough into a product that would eventually lead to one of the most mysterious disappearances in modern music history. Behind the closed doors of record label boardrooms, the girl with the lion's roar was reportedly being told to sit down and stay quiet. Following her meteoric rise, Courtney Hadwin was quickly absorbed into the corporate machine, signing a high-profile deal with Simon Cowell's Syco Entertainment and Arista Records. For any aspiring artist, this is the ultimate dream, but for Courtney, it allegedly became a nightmare of creative suppression. Investigative sources close to the production indicate that the transition from a viral sensation to a recording artist was fraught with internal conflict. While the public expected an album full of the grit and growl that made her famous, the label was reportedly pushing for a cleaner, more radio-friendly sound. This led to a period of the silent years, where Courtney seemed to vanish from the public eye. Rumors of industry sabotage began to circulate, with insiders suggesting that her refusal to pivot into generic pop led to her being shelved. A common but devastating industry practice, where an artist is kept under contract but prevented from releasing new music. During this time, the legal complexities of her deal meant she couldn't speak out, creating a vacuum filled with fan theories and speculation. We've uncovered reports that during these sessions, Courtney felt like a ghost in her own life, watching as songwriters tried to pen lyrics for a girl they didn't actually understand. The friction between her old soul artistry and the label's bottom line created a stalemate that lasted for years, leading many to believe her career was over before it truly began. This period highlights the chilling reality of the music business. Sometimes, the very people who discover you are the ones most afraid of your actual talent, leading to a standoff that nearly cost the world one of its most unique voices. A new, unsettling image has replaced the shy girl we once knew, leaving many to wonder if the rock monster was always hiding beneath the surface. Fast forward to the present day in 2026, and the Courtney Hadwin we see today is unrecognizable from the child who stood on that AGT stage. Rebranding herself under the moniker Little Miss Jagged, she has embraced a gothic, avant-garde rock aesthetic that has polarized her original fanbase. This wasn't just a change in wardrobe, it was a total psychological shift. Our investigation into her recent social media activity and independent releases suggests a deep-seated rebellion against her past. She has moved away from the next Janis Joplin label, which she reportedly found suffocating and limiting. Instead, Her new music explores themes of betrayal, industry corruption, and the loss of innocence, all delivered with a vocal intensity that borders on the aggressive. This rock monster persona has sparked fresh controversies, with some parents claiming she has become too dark for the younger audience that initially supported her. However, younger demographics have flocked to this new identity, seeing it as a symbol of defiance against corporate grooming. The transition was marked by a series of cryptic, self-produced videos that bypassed traditional media entirely, signaling her move toward total independence. This shift was more than a rebranding. It was a declaration of war against the people who tried to simplify her. By leaning into the jagged parts of her personality, Courtney has effectively killed the golden buzzer girl to make room for an artist who refuses to be ignored. The question now being debated in music circles is whether this darker path is a sustainable career move or a reactionary explosion that might burn out as quickly as it ignited. Reports are surfacing of a high-tension confrontation that left one of the world's most powerful music moguls visibly shaken. In a shocking development that has set the industry ablaze, sources are detailing a private meeting between Courtney and her former mentor, Simon Cowell, that took place just before she officially went independent. While the specifics remain guarded by non-disclosure agreements, leaked information suggests that Courtney played her new, unreleased material for her former boss, and the reaction was anything but standard. Witnesses describe an emotional atmosphere where the weight of the lost years was finally acknowledged. It is rumored that Cowell was left in tears, overwhelmed by the raw power and the sheer vocal violence of her new direction. This wasn't a moment of sentimental pride, but rather a stark realization of the power he could no longer control. Following this alleged confrontation, Courtney's legal team worked tirelessly to finalize her exit from the major label system. This backstage incident serves as a pivotal turning point in her narrative. It was the moment the student finally surpassed the master, proving that her talent was too large for any one executive to contain. Since then, Courtney has been vocal in interviews, albeit using careful, indirect phrasing, about the unhealthy environments and accusations that surfaced regarding the way young stars are treated in the industry. She has hinted at a survivalist mentality, suggesting that her time in the major label system was something she had to make it out of alive. This narrative of survival has turned her into a hero for independent artists everywhere, but it has also made her a persona non grata in the traditional pop world. She once seemed destined to rule. She has traded the safety of a billion-dollar machine for the uncertainty of the unknown, and the results are rewriting the rules of the music industry. Courtney Hadwin is no longer a pawn in someone else's game. She is now the CEO of her own destiny. In a move that shocked financial analysts and music critics alike, she has successfully transitioned to a fully independent model, releasing her 2026 album Little Miss Jagged through her own channels. This move towards sovereignty was not just about creative freedom. It was a strategic strike against the middlemen, who she felt were draining her resources and her spirit. Our reporters have found that her independent ventures are seeing higher engagement than her major label releases ever did, proving that the modern audience craves authenticity over polish. However, this path has its own set of challenges. Without the massive marketing budgets of a global conglomerate, Courtney has had to rely on a cult-like grassroots following to spread her message. She has faced accusations from industry insiders who claim she is difficult to work with, but fans see this as code for a woman who knows her worth. Her story has become a beacon for YouTube automation creators and independent artists, showing that a viral moment is just the beginning. The real work is in surviving the aftermath. As she prepares for a massive world tour, the legacy of her voice continues to evolve. She is no longer just a singer. She is a survivor of the star-making machinery that has claimed so many others. Whether you see her as a rock savior or a cautionary tale, one thing is undeniable. Courtney Hadwin's voice didn't just change her life. It forced the entire industry to look in the mirror and reckon with the ghosts it creates. The story of the girl who refused to be silenced is still being written, and the world is finally listening on her terms. Courtney Hadwin's journey from a trembling 13-year-old to a defiant independent icon is more than just an entertainment story. It's a case study in human resilience. She broke the mold of the talent show winner and replaced it with something far more complex and enduring. As we wrap up this special report, it's clear that her voice, the very thing that started this whole journey, remains her most powerful weapon. She has navigated controversies, survived industry sabotage, and emerged as a leader of a new generation of artists who refuse to play by the old rules. Perhaps the most surprising note of all is that by losing her Golden Girl status, she finally found her true self. As you watch her future unfold, ask yourself, would you have the courage to walk away from $1 million contract just to hear the sound of your own voice again? Courtney did, and the world will never be the same.